Hey, are you ready to vote in San Francisco this November?
It's a big one.
It is. We're diving deep into the 15 ballot measures. We've got voting recommendations from an AI.
This AI is based on a real San Franciscan's voting record,
Yeah, so we can see how they might vote.
like an AI clone of their civic mind.
Yep.
Think of it as a sneak peek into how their values and priorities would play out on this ballot.
That's really interesting. We'll walk through each measure, the AI's pick, and why. It's your cheat sheet for the ballot box.
With some AI insights.
Exactly. Ready to decode these propositions?
Let's do it.
Let's dive in. First up, Proposition A, the school's improvement and safety bond.
This one's all about investing in our schools. $790 million worth of investment, to be exact. Seismic retrofits, classroom upgrades, tech improvements, the whole shebang.
Essential stuff. But I'm wondering about the cost. What's the AI voter say?
The AI says yes. It prioritizes safe, modern schools for kids. And it knows about past concerns with how the district's managed money, but thinks those upgrades outweigh the risks.
Interesting. Weighing the pros and cons like that.
Okay.
Proposition B, community health and medical facilities bond. Improving healthcare facilities, boosting street safety, and creating housing for homeless families.
Another big one, $390 million. The AI gives it a yes, emphasizing the need for earthquake-safe hospitals, specifically Zuckerberg San Francisco General and Laguna Honda Hospital.
Right, those serve so many people. It makes sense to prioritize that. 2 yes votes so far. What about Proposition C?
Proposition C wants to keep city government honest, proposing an independent inspector general in the controller's office.
So a watchdog, investigating misconduct by city officials.
Exactly. Investigating anything suspicious, making sure everyone's following the rules.
With the scandals we've seen in San Francisco politics, that sounds good. The AI's take.
Another, yes, prioritizing transparency and accountability in government, especially after those scandals.
Makes sense. Now, Proposition D is different. It's about city commissions, giving the mayor more power.
They say it streamlines city government, reducing the number of commissions, giving the mayor more control over appointments, even without the Board of Supervisors okay.
So less bureaucracy, but also less oversight. What's the AI's verdict?
It's a no from the AI. Seems like they like checks and balances.
So the AI learned that and decided that concentrating power in the mayor's office, even for efficiency, might be bad. That's interesting.
It is. Proposition E is related to D, also dealing with city commissions, but it wants to create a task force.
So aiming for efficiency, but collaboratively.
Exactly. And the AI seems to like that because it gives Proposition E a yes.
It's like, yes, streamline things, but keep safeguards. I see how it thinks. Proposition F, this one's about police staffing and something called the Deferred Retirement Option Program, DROP.
Proposition F is trying to address the police staffing shortage. It wants to bring back this DROP program, which lets senior officers delay retirement while their pension benefits increase.
So they're working, but also kind of retired. What about the city's budget?
That's it. The AI remembers a similar program from 2008 that was a financial mess. It didn't help staffing and cost a lot.
A recycled idea with a bad track record. What does the AI voter say?
It's a no on Proposition F. Too financially risky, especially since it failed before.
So it's not just about the problem now, but the long-term finances.
Yep.
Okay. Proposition G, providing rental subsidies for affordable housing.
This one's about helping very low-income seniors, families, and people with disabilities afford to live in San Francisco. Housing is tough here.
For sure, especially for vulnerable people. What does our AI voter think?
The AI gives Proposition G a yes vote.
What is it like?
It directly helps those struggling the most, which fits with the AI's history of supporting these types of programs.
So it's about making sure housing is available to those who need it most.
Yes. And the AI likes that funding would be a small part of the city's budget starting in 2026. A sustainable and responsible approach.
Addressing a critical need without breaking the bank. Makes sense. Proposition H, retirement benefits for firefighters.
This one would lower the retirement age for firefighters hired after 2012 from 58 to 55.
Making it the same as those hired earlier.
Yes.
Sounds fair.
It does, but the AI gives Proposition H a no.
Why is that?
It's worried about the cost and potentially undoing pension reforms from 2011 that were meant to help the city's pension system, which wasn't in good shape then.
This could put that at risk.
The AI thinks so. Lowering the retirement age, even for some, has a big financial impact long term.
It's tough, wanting to support firefighters, but also not wanting to mess up city finances. So the AI is thinking long term. What about Proposition I? That's about retirement for nurses and 911 operators this time.
Similar to Proposition H, improving retirement benefits for essential workers. It would let nurses buy more service credits for their pensions, maybe retiring earlier, and would give 911 dispatchers a better pension plan.
Sounds good again. These are essential jobs. What does the AI say?
The AI sees the good intentions, but gives it a no. Again, the financial burden on the city is concerning.
How much are we talking?
Projections say an increase in pension costs between $3.8 million to $6.7 million every year, and we have a budget deficit already.
Right. Another tough one where the AI chooses fiscal responsibility, even for essential workers. Proposition J funding programs for children and families. That sounds promising.
It does, and the AI agrees, giving it a yes.
What is it like about this one?
It's all about accountability and transparency in spending on these programs. It would require yearly reports and a 5-year spending plan for important funds, like the Public Education Enrichment Fund.
Making sure the money is used well.
Right. And the AI knows, based on the voting history, that this person cares about supporting kids and families, but they want those programs run well.
Makes sense. Transparency and accountability are always good. Okay, we're getting there. Proposition K, making the upper grade highway car-free permanently.
This one's controversial. Proposition K would close the upper grade highway to cars, turning it into a park. Strong opinions on both sides.
Totally. What's the AI stance?
Yes.
Why close the highway?
The AI noticed they supported similar things before, like keeping JFK Drive and Golden Gate Park car-free.
So the AI is picking up on a preference for making things better for pedestrians and less car traffic. That's interesting how it can identify patterns like that.
Exactly. It's about seeing the bigger picture and how votes fit with broader values.
Okay, on to Proposition L, taxing those ride-hailing companies and self-driving car companies. Uber, Lyft, Waymo, everyone.
That tax revenue would fund Muni, San Francisco's public transportation.
So the companies causing congestion help pay for the solution.
That's the idea. Funding public transportation and making those who profit from the city's infrastructure help pay for it.
Makes sense. What does the AI say?
Yes, on Proposition L. It likes this, especially with how important public transportation is here and that Muni needs more funding.
It's a classic debate about funding public services.
Yeah.
And in this case, the AI wants to shift that burden toward these big companies.
It's about finding that balance between supporting business and making sure businesses contribute to the city.
All right. Proposition M is about changes to business taxes.
It tries to do a few things. It wants to increase the tax exemption for small businesses, which sounds good.
Give those small businesses a break. But there's a trade-off.
There is. While Proposition M tries to help small businesses, it also means less money for the city, at least for a bit. We're talking about $40 million less per year until 2027.
That's a lot, especially with the budget deficit. What does the AI think?
The AI says no on Proposition M.
Not surprising, but is it just the money?
It might be. The AI sees a pattern. This voter usually opposes these types of proposals, especially those that cut taxes for bigger businesses, while potentially hurting essential services like programs for unhoused folks and public health.
So it's about priorities.
It is. Every dollar less in taxes has to come from somewhere, and it might be programs this voter cares about.
It's about the bigger picture and what might happen because of these tax changes.
It's not just about the immediate impact on one group, but the effect on the whole city.
Makes sense. Almost done. Proposition N, a fund to reimburse first responders for student loans and training.
It's called the First Responders Student Loan and Training Reimbursement Fund. Sounds good. Everyone wants to help first responders.
Absolutely. But I bet there's a catch.
The AI noticed that Proposition N doesn't say where the money comes from. No dedicated funding source.
Promising money without saying where it'll come from.
Right, and that's worrying. It might mean future tax increases.
Good intention, bad execution.
Yeah, the AI gives Proposition N a no for that reason.
Okay, last one. Proposition O, supporting reproductive rights. Feels relevant now.
Definitely. Proposition O wants to protect access to reproductive health care services here in San Francisco, including abortion and emergency contraception.
How would it do that?
It has a few parts. It would make a city website with a list of providers, require signs at places that don't offer these services, protect patient privacy, and support funding for reproductive health care.
Increasing access to information, transparency, and privacy.
Yes. This one's easy for the AI. It gives Proposition O a yes.
That makes sense.
The AI knows this person strongly supports individual freedoms and access to health care, especially for reproductive rights.
So this is right up their alley.
Absolutely.
Wow, we just went through all 15 of San Francisco's ballot measures. It's really cool how the AI worked through each one, thinking like this San Franciscan voter.
It's wild how technology can do that and help people understand these complicated issues.
For sure. But this is just one person. Your values might make you vote differently.
Do your own research, think about the issues, and vote this November.
Every vote matters. It's really amazing to see how someone's values play out like that, in those recommendations.
It really is.
Yeah,
Like you're seeing inside their head how they balance things like being responsible with money versus supporting people, wanting change, but also wanting things to be stable.
for sure.
Yeah.
And like with those propositions about retirement for firefighters and nurses, those are tough.
They are.
You want to help them, but you also have to think about the cost for everyone.
Right. And the AI, because it learned from this one person's past votes, seemed to put more importance on financial responsibility in those cases,
Yeah, even if it wasn't the popular choice.
even if it wasn't the popular choice. Yeah.
It's thinking about the strategy, not just one vote.
Long term, exactly. And that's something we can all learn from.
Exactly.
Whether we agree with all the AI's choices or not, it's about taking a step back. What are the long-term effects of what we decide?
For sure. This whole AI voter thing could change how we do this whole voting thing.
Absolutely. Imagine if everyone had a tool like this to understand those complicated ballot measures and see how what they care about matches up with those choices.
It would be like having your own personal voting guide.
Absolutely. It could even connect you with other voters who think like you or give you more information about the people running for office.
Yeah, that would be especially helpful for people who are new to San Francisco or just feel overwhelmed by everything during elections.
It could make things fairer and help everyone be a part of it.
I love that idea. But are there any downsides to AI being more involved in our elections?
Oh, that's a really important question.
Yeah,
Because this technology is still new.
totally.
We got to be careful about the possible problems.
Exactly, like bias. If the AI learns from information that's already biased,
Yes, absolutely.
it will recommend things that are biased.
Yeah.
And that could be really bad.
It could make harmful stereotypes worse or leave some people out completely.
Yeah,
Which is why we need to make sure these AI systems are built and taught using information that's diverse and represents everyone.
exactly.
And we need to constantly check them to find and fix any bias that pops up.
So it's not just about building the technology,
No.
but making sure it's used in a good way.
In a responsible and ethical way. Absolutely. And being open is super important too.
Yes,
We need to understand how these AI systems make their recommendations.
absolutely.
We can't just trust that the AI knows best.
Exactly, because if we don't understand why it's suggesting something, how can we trust it's best for us?
Exactly. Transparency builds trust, and we have to have trust for any technology that's going to be involved in our democracy.
And on top of being transparent, we have to think about data privacy. These AI systems need a ton of data to work, and that data often includes personal stuff about voters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
We have to make sure there are strong protections in place so people's information is kept private and their data isn't used in bad ways.
it's a tough balance,
Yeah.
finding ways to use AI to make our democracy better while also protecting our rights and freedoms.
It is a tough balance.
Yeah.
But I do think we can find it. I'm optimistic. What's happening here in San Francisco with this AI voter is a great example of how we can start to explore these things and develop ethical and responsible AI for civic engagement.
Absolutely. It gets the conversation going. We've talked about the good things about AI in elections,
Right.
like making voting easier and more accessible. But we've also touched on some of the challenges like bias, transparency, and data privacy. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's still very early to say how AI will change our democracy. It's like we're at the very beginning of something new and we don't really know where it's going to go. There's a lot that could happen, good or bad.
Exciting and a little scary at the same time.
It is. But the important thing is that we're having these conversations now, thinking about the effects of this technology and working to make sure it's a tool that helps everyone.
Yeah, it's not just the tech people or the government. We're all citizens here and need to stay informed, talk to each other, and hold our leaders accountable for how they use technology in our democracy.
Yes, I completely agree. What happens with our democracy might depend on it.
That's a great point. Now, how about we tell our listeners where they can learn more about this cool AI voter and how it works? It's really amazing how much technology is changing how we deal with voting,
Right. Remember those huge voter guides, trying to make sense of it all.
and usually ending up more confused.
Totally. Now we have AI to break down the issues based on your values, personalized guides, maybe even tools to show how different policies could affect our community.
Wow, imagine that. seeing what your vote can mean before you even vote. That's smart decision making.
It's a very exciting time to think about this stuff, that's for sure. Technology can make our democracy better, more engaging, and ultimately more responsive to what people actually need.
Totally agree. But as we talked about, we got to be careful and smart with these new tools. We have to watch out for bias in AI, make sure it's transparent, and make sure our privacy is safe.
Couldn't agree more. Everyone needs to do their part. The companies making the AI need to be ethical, the people making laws need to set clear rules, and we as citizens need to stay informed, ask tough questions, and hold everyone accountable.
Well said. Speaking of staying informed, if our listeners want to learn more about this AI voter and how it works, check out the blog I Thought He Came With You. They have an article about this AI voter, how it was created, and the reasons behind its picks. There's a link in our show notes.
It's a great read, trust me. It gets into the details of the technology and what it could mean for elections in the future.
Well, we've talked about a lot: schools, healthcare, taxes, and how tech is shaping how our democracy works. It's been quite a deep dive into the San Francisco ballot.
Absolutely. And this is just the beginning. Everyone listening, go do your own research, talk to your friends, and most importantly, vote this November.
Every vote matters. Thanks for being here for this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and engaged, and happy voting.